rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Oh, my goodness. Yes. We have some rogue justices or rogue judges again. I don't know why they can't keep learning this shit. You would think that if you become a judge, you'd be at least, smarter than the average bear, but yeah. Not apparently. Not this time around. Yeah. Oh, all right, folks. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Tonight, we have G. G is up for our tonight's pledge. So if you are of mind, please stand. Remove your hat if you're wearing one, like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with G as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, G, for that wonderful rendition of the Pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the Pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing or reciting the Pledge in your style, then take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email address. Send it off to me. Send it to fans. FANS at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans. FANS at AmericanPerspective.online, and I will get you into the rotation. I am looking for number 21. Ooh, 21 is who I'm looking for, so if you would, please send it off to me. And if you do it on your phone, I have it from a now heavenly host that you can use share, hit the share button once you get it recorded, hit the share button and you will be able to send it off to me, to fans, FANS at AmericanPerspective.online. And yes, Bonnie, I know we want 25, but I got to get 21 first. 21 is first. So we got to get 21 first, and then we'll work on 22, 23, 24, and of course 25. There you go. All right. So, yes, drill, baby, drill. Anyway, sorry, that was Buddy Weiser, one of Buddy Weiser's things that he would do in the chat almost every single night. He would say, drill, baby, drill. Anyway, so let's get on to tonight's headline sponsor, which is the Institute on the Constitution. The Institute on the Constitution was established in 2004 as a 501c3 nonprofit with one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. All courses and materials are developed using primary source documents and taught from the American view of law and government as defined in the Declaration of Independence in the following 3 key points. 1, there is a God. 2, our rights come from him. And 3, the purpose of civil government is to secure and protect our God-given rights. The IOTC offers the opportunity to educate yourself on our most precious founding document, the Constitution of the United States. They also provide tools to educate your community and get involved with local government. Start by taking their free U.S. Constitution course and go from there. Use my affiliate link, iotc.americanperspective.online, to sign up, and while you are there, take a moment to look through their other course material and information. My affiliate link, once again, is iotc.americanperspective.online to get great content. To learn about our historical founding and support the show in the process, that's IOTC.AmericanPerspective.online. Or if you just want to purchase this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution to support the show, go to Constitution.AmericanPerspective.online. And my Whiskey Warrior P1s over here have heard this spot for years now. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. It's got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. Look inside. There is no cheap glue here, folks. It is stitched all throughout the pages and the leather all the way through the outside. It has sexy rounded corners. It is my buddy tested, buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved, and my youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you to study for your civics badge in Scouts, as well as your civics exam. My G is saying that there's stitching that Florence Nightingale would approve of in this wonderful thing. Anyway, if it has a 100-year warranty, and if anything goes wrong with it, you can send it back to the manufacturer, who will either fix it or replace it for free. Go ahead and go to Constitution.AmericanPerspective.online and to get yours today. Time is running out, folks, for the year. You've got to pick these up and put them in every single stocking as a stocking stuffer for everybody. I'm just saying. I mean, your conservative friends will love it. The leftists or Democrats in your family will hate it and try to destroy it, which means you get to have the entertainment of watching them attempt to try and rip this thing apart. Trust me, it's not that hard, or it's not that easy. Anyway, head on over to Constitution.AmericanPerspective.online to get yours today. And also check out the rest of the Institute on the Constitution's offerings. And I appreciate them for allowing me to be a brand affiliate. You know, you've been doing that spot long enough that you don't even notice when you switch. Like, you can't remember whether or not you hit the button or not, and then you look up and, oh, there's the button, and it went through, and yeah, anyway. Either that or I'm just getting old. Yes. It was just probably a little bit of both, to be honest with you. Anyway, all right, folks, well, we're on the cusp. Yes, we're on the cusp where we may have a legal reason to see all of the Epstein files. Can't believe these morons took the time to even vote on this stupid ass shit. Anyway, the House members voted on the Epstein files, and yeah, they had a 427 to 1. There were the one who voted against it is Ray Higgins from Louisiana. He didn't support it. He posted on X today. He's like, I have been a principled no on this bill from the beginning. What was wrong with this bill 3 months ago is still wrong today. It abandons 250 years of criminal justice procedure in America. He says, as written, this bill reveals and injures thousands of innocent people, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members, etc. He said, if enacted in its current form, this type of broad reveal of criminal investigative files released to a rabid media will absolutely result in innocent people being hurt. Now, all I can tell you is this would be awfully interesting if the bill were to pass both the House and the Senate, because you got to understand this is a bill. These dumbasses have gone and put this into a bill. And so, therefore, in order for a bill to get passed, reaching back, way back in the Wayback Machine to Schoolhouse Rock, both houses have to pass it. So, and by both houses, I mean the House and the Senate, both houses of Congress, both parts of Congress, the upper chamber, the lower chamber, I don't want to throw you guys off too much. Well, I'm not going to throw off my Whiskey Warrior P1s because they're the smartest listening audience in the ethosphere. But these morons seem to think that, hey, we did it. We passed it in the House. Yay. Now watch what happens in the Senate. Or even better yet, if they don't get a veto-proof majority in the Senate and it goes to Trump's desk and he vetoes it, saying that, you know what, I agree with this guy who said no, to try and protect all of these things. Yeah. Anyway. Seriously, even if we do get the release, we already know pretty much everything about it anyway. I mean, outside of, again, the points that he points out, witnesses, people who provided alibis, family members of people who may or may not still be here, dealing with this shit. We're not going to get anything new. Trump is not involved with the bad side of Epstein. He's the one that called it out. In fact, there was a clip, and I should have grabbed it, but there was a clip that I saw of him in Times Square where he actually does call it out prior to him being I think it being president the first time. And, yeah. I'm just, this is disgusting that the federal government is even involved in any of this shit. Talk about being outside of your constitutional boundaries. This is it. Hello, this freaking thing right here is exactly what I'm talking about. The federal government doesn't need to be involved in this. This is a state matter. This is an internal matter. The federal government doesn't need to be involved. What the hell? Anyway, for those of you who are quick at math and going, that's only 428 votes. You had 427 yays and 1 nay. What the hell happened? Well, 5 members did not participate in the vote. And there's 2 vacancies, I should say, in the House. So that accounts for 7. You'll remember it's 435 seats that are in the House of Representatives. So 428 plus 5 makes it 432. Wait a minute. 438 plus 5. Nope, 433. My bad. And then 2 vacancies take it to 435. So there's all your votes. So everybody who was able, other than the 5 members that did not participate. Yeah. So, anyway. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is just a complete... I never really thought a lot of her in the beginning anyway, but now she is like a complete moron. We do have morons in the Republican Party, and I got to tell you, Marjorie Taylor Greene is turning into one of them. Anyway, she just... it's a Thomas Massey is another one. He's another total complete moron as well. And I'm sorry I'm not sorry. That's my personal opinion. So if you don't like it, I'm too bad. But I personally think both of these people are just they've gone off the deep end, like Candace Owens, like Steve Bannon, which, by the way, Steve Bannon apparently makes a relevant and incredibly almost a supporting role in the trove of Epstein emails that got released. See, I did not know this. Apparently, Bannon went to Epstein and was like trying to act like his publicist or something. Look, I'm gonna step off. I'm sorry, I gotta step off the train track here. Mark Levin has been talking a lot about people like Tucker Carlson, about the podcasters like Candace Owens, like there was another one, Megyn Kelly. I don't know what's going on with them, but all of a sudden, the three of them in particular, and of course, I mean, Steve Bannon, I've never been a war room kind of person. I've never been one of those types of people who wants to, like, jump on the bandwagon in the war room. But I'm sorry, every single one of those, Tucker Carlson, since he left the network, he's done some good stuff, but he's also done some, oh my God, what the hell are you doing? Like when he platformed the Nick Fuentes guy. You know, the Groyper dude? Yeah, the far right, Jewish hating, whatever. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he when he platformed him, it was like, oh my God, Candace. Ever since she left the Daily Wire and got into that whole fight with Ben Shapiro over Israel, by the way, has gone completely nuts. And Megyn Kelly went, not that I listen to her on a regular basis. I mean, I've seen clips of her and stuff like that, and some of the clips seem like, she's a fairly intelligent individual. But she stepped out and was talking something about how if you're 15 years old, that's not, pedophilia. And I'm going, wait, what? Anybody under the age of 18? If you're over the age of 18 and you're performing sex acts with a person under the age of 18, yeah, that's a bit of a problem, folks. And I don't know, this whole thing, it's like all of a sudden they just drank from the same kind of well and took off. Now, how does this relate to Mark Levin? Well, Mark Levin has been attacking them for being, way out on the fringes now, and for essentially showing how bad they actually are. And you have people like Steve Bannon, who apparently seems to think that MAGA itself is like this movement that he can somehow co-opt away from Trump. Folks, MAGA is Trump. I agree with Mark Levin on that. MAGA is Trump. Trump created the movement. And these people who are, against Trump today are that were with Trump yesterday. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't understand the flip-flop. Now, you can have problems with Trump in particular, but again, pointing this out, they're, Massey and MTG, they've been pushing for the release of the Epstein files. The Epstein files they're nothing, folks. There's nothing there. There's nothing to them. It's not like we don't have anything already out there. I really don't. And why all of a sudden these people who would normally be the voices, well, I won't say the voices of reason, but they were getting closer. All of a sudden it's like this schism has developed in the right-wing party, in the right party, the conservative movement. And it's like now all of a sudden we've got some crazies that have just popped up out of nowhere. And I'm trying to understand, me personally, I'm trying to understand why. But, I don't agree with everybody. I really don't. I'm not necessarily like a devout follower of any individual. I am a free-thinking, critical thinking, truth, evidence, truth, facts, logic, reason, those are the things that drive me. And none of this stuff is making sense to me. I've been reaching out to Mark Levin on X. I've been trying to get a Mark Levin show. I've been sitting there and trying to, multiple times have been trying to, hey, look, Mark, forget about those people. Forget about those guys. If you don't like them, fine. But forget about them. Focus on people and actually use your platform, Mark, to help promote people that you like. I don't care whether it's this program, that program, whatever kind of program. And by this program, yes, I'm also including this exact program in here. But I'm getting a little tired of everybody sitting here and especially the leftist mainstream media are sitting here and they're talking about, Tucker Carlson. Oh my gosh, Tucker Carlson. Oh, MTG. Oh. Really? Really? See, this is part of the problem. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The Republican Party and the conservative movement, our differences in thought cause us to fractionalize a lot more than the Democrats. See, the Democrats have a hive mind. Yes, they may have their far left influence, which is currently taking over the party at this point. They may have some moderates like John Fetterman or whatever. And up until recently, even John Fetterman did this. You would see the Democrat Party, they would be in one lockstep mind. All connected. And boom, there you go. And I'm sitting here and I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, I understand you can disagree with somebody on policy. For an example, I disagree with Trump on some of the things that he's doing. However, that doesn't mean that he is necessarily wrong. I can tell you from my standpoint, I personally would probably never have any kind of a personal relationship with Trump. I mean, we might go out to a bar and have a beer or, well, he doesn't drink, a whiskey in my case, okay? But that doesn't mean that I'm backing the guy 100%. I don't have to. I'm behind his policies. I'm behind his ideas. I'm behind the things that matter. This Epstein BS, this doesn't matter. This is not a national news thing. This is not a national news thing. I'm sorry, it isn't. It shouldn't even be a part of the national news. But this is exactly what is going on today. And I'm getting frustrated and confused on all of it. Because we seem to be so locked up in the infighting within ourselves to realize that we scored a major victory in 2024. We are still scoring major victories for the conservative movement. You don't have to be behind every single one, folks. You don't have to be behind every single one. But the fact of the matter is that if you're not behind every single one and you decide to torpedo the person because you're just not behind every single one, I mean, even though, let's say you get a 60-40 split. Maybe you're behind 60% of what a person says. But you're going to go ahead and torpedo them for the 40%? That's not how we get anything done in America. That's not how we're going to get back our country in America. Now, there are certain things like Nick Fuentes and his groypers, okay? That whole sect of whatever the hell they are, I don't know. But those people, man, they should be completely shunned. People like Alex Jones, that's another name that I didn't follow on because he basically put on his tinfoil hat and that was it. That's his thing, is a tinfoil hat. I don't go for those kinds of people. I don't listen to those kinds of people because what I need down to earth, real facts, real news, real truth. And that's it. That's it. I'm also a little frustrated that Mark Levin has spent, we're talking like a couple of weeks on this crap. I mean, just saying. Coco, look it up online. Seriously, look it up online. I don't have time. I don't have time to go through it. Coco says, what the F is a groyper? You know? I don't really have the time, unfortunately, to go through it on this program. I talked a little bit about it after Charlie Kirk got killed, assassinated. But anyway, I digress. All right, folks. I don't understand these people. Why? Why are you spending so much time here? Anyway, all right, let's move on. Well, a moron who is a young moron, and I got to tell you, You know, you want to talk about the Groypers and that and how stupid the whole movement is? Here's a stupid movement, too. Apparently, there was this guy on YouTube. His name's Jack Doherty. And he was apparently either carrying or high on methamphetamines or something like that. And I just, anyway, here, I gotta bring this up. This is the moron. This is my moron files for tonight. And I know I gotta get a stinger going. You know, 3 Chevy sent me some stuff, and I gotta get a stinger going for this. But let me see if I can find it. There it is. So here he is. He's in Miami. Now keep in mind, he's already like he trashed a $200,000 car. I think it was I don't know if it was a McLaren or something like that, but he's already trashed a $200,000 car for this bullshit. But apparently he's one of these internet stars, and he supposedly has like 28 million followers or whatever. And he does these pranks. And he's in the middle of the frickin' street in Miami. He's standing in the middle of the street. Now, how he ended up with the cops, I have no idea. This is the guy. This is the kid. Okay? This is the kid. Anyway, this idiot, he apparently was like standing on the side. He's like, I was trying to walk up the street, he says. He was standing in the middle of the street in Miami Beach. He was found in possession of amphetamines and is now facing charges for drug possession and resisting an officer. Okay. So this guy, and here, I'll just, let me see if I can just play this real quick.
No. I got it. I'm going. I got it.
So here he is. He's getting arrested. He's on the phone. He's trying to interact with the police, and he's on the phone. The police are like arresting his ass. Now, what you don't see prior to this video, I'm going to pause it right there. What you don't see prior to this video is he basically was told by the officers, hey, come on over here and get on the sidewalk. In other words, get the hell out of the street. And the guy's sitting there and he's like, I challenge you to a duel. And the cop's like, look, just get on the sidewalk, man. Get over here and get on the sidewalk. And this kid, he's like, yeah. After we do the duel, sir, trying to, be polite or whatever it was. And the cop's like, hey, look, get over here on the sidewalk. And he's like telling him, get over here on the sidewalk, get over here on the sidewalk, get over here on the sidewalk. I think he told him like 4 or 5, 6 times, something like that. Anyway, he apparently does these bizarre prank videos, and the cops who arrested him seem to have been, something that he was planning on targeting for this guy. But they kept asking him, get on the sidewalk, get on the sidewalk. Well, then he goes and gets arrested, and they find the amphetamines on him. What a effing moron. Look, right here. This is a transcript of it. He goes, all right, we challenge you to a duel. There's 6 police officers that showed up. An officer goes, guys, go to the sidewalk. Doherty replies, after we duel, sir. Cop says, I'm not going to tell you again. Go to the sidewalk. Yes, sir, after we duel. As he's looking at his phone. He still refused to get on the sidewalk, and the cops grow increasingly frustrated, warning him one more time. And the cop grabbed his hand and cuffed him. Yeah, there you go. Guys, you play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes. This is one stupid prize. He wouldn't have gotten arrested if all he did was be like, you know what? I'm stepping onto the sidewalk. This is how stupid these people are. Oh my gosh. It's not just him. There was a TPUSA chapter that got approved at a Colorado Fort Lewis College. Oh yeah, this guy is just a swell dude. This guy, he's a retired professor. His name is David Kozak. And he was caught on camera on November 7th when the incident happened. He's yelling in reaction. He's going, calling the TPUSA supporters Nazis. He's saying F the Nazis. And go on, fascists. Go on, Nazi lovers. Come on, Nazis. He just kept repeating this. This is a professor of an emeritus professor. Okay? I mean, anyway. Yeah. These people are they're nuts. They're gone. They've lost it. Kind of going through these a little quick because I did a digression on my rant here. But 60 Minutes, 60 Minutes has got an upcoming story, folks. Guess what it's going to talk about? It's going to talk about, all of the children who have been victims of school shootings. Yeah. Victims of school shootings. That's what the hell? Here's Anderson Cooper in the promo states they visited the empty rooms left behind by children killed in school shootings. Okay, how about visiting the empty rooms of all the kids that get shot down in gang-related incidents? Or how about visiting the empty rooms of the kids that have been, or the young women that have been taken by the illegal aliens that are running around? Okay. How about all of those folks? Yeah. Now, apparently, 60 Minutes went and talked to Jada and Chad Scruggs, whose daughter was killed at the Nashville Covenant school shooting. And they never bother. They never bothered, apparently, to talk about the motives behind the Covenant school shooting. Gee, I wonder why. Folks, this is media manipulation. 60 Minutes is clearly pushing an agenda. They are trying to attach an emotional response to essentially what should be a no-brainer. Not that we need to pass gun control, but that we need to address mental illness. That we need to address the fact that we leave these schools wide open for these people. That we're not bothering to take security measures to protect our young. That we're not bothering to take in security measures that identify these mentally ill idiots, and that there is a literal problem with some of the social media and everything else. They're not bothering to address these things. They're not bothering to address these items. Now, of course, I'm going to guarantee you that 60 Minutes won't point out that the last several school shootings were performed by leftists. Yeah, I doubt that is going to be shown in the 60 Minutes category, or 60 Minutes thing. So, yeah. Anyway. All right, let's get to our point, to our headline topic here in just a second. But first, let me tell you about this wonderful elixir that I wake up to every single morning. It's called coffee, and I have a big 16-ounce mug that says, "Father like no other, given to me by the Whiskey Children, one day for Father's Day." It's fantastic. And yes, Bonnie, you mentioned a couple of times ago, you mentioned whether or not I wash my mug. I do, but it is still stained from the coffee within. All of that being said, if you still haven't tried 1775 coffee, now is your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. There's a limited number of units available. In each unit, you'll be getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and don't forget that Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy and laser focus with no crash. All of these coffees are single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, you're also going to be getting my personal favorite, the Gold Spoon Clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. You'll also be receiving a frother that is strong enough to not only stir up your coffee, but will also stir up your mother-in-law's opinions. Let's face it, you don't really need a frother for that. You just need to drop a couple of words and then bam, all of a sudden her opinions are there on the table. It don't take much. And you'll also be receiving a black 1775 tumbler. It's $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for just the low, low price of $99. This is for the ones who have been watching 1775 coffee blow up on Rumble and wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com. That's the numbers 1775, the word coffee altogether.com /studio. For those that don't know, that / is the question mark key on your keyboard. 1775coffee.com /studio, STUDIO, and grab your starter kit before they are gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Go to 1775coffee.com /studio and grab your starter kit today. All right. Well, we have yet another activist Democrat judge. Apparently, this judge ruled, this is the Davidson County Chancellor, Patricia Head Moskal, Moskal. She she blocked the deployment of the National Guard to clean up the city of Memphis. Now, keep in mind, this is already after the people of Memphis have been clamoring to try and get the National Guard to go there. Not to mention the fact that the surge in a rescue, 100 children were rescued in Memphis after this started, this whole thing started. And still, she goes and says, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're going to block your deployment in there. I mean, you've already done something absolutely fantastic. You know, something that the regular police have not been able to accomplish, and you did it. But no, you guys can't do that. Not to mention the fact that, hey, that kind of steps out from her authority. And I'm going to prove to you right now. Here is the authority that they do not have. And I'll explain it. Here it is, Article 3, which sets up our judiciary. It states under Section 1, this is the very first line, folks. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such, now here's the word, inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. Now, what does that mean? That line tells you exactly what it means. That Congress shall from time to time establish inferior courts. See, the idea was that the inferior courts wouldn't have to be there all the time. That they would only show up occasionally, and Congress would have the power to create them. But here's the problem. Congress cannot infuse power that it does not have into something that is below the Constitution to have the strength to overcome the Constitution. I mean, seriously, folks, where do these people get their idea that they have this ability, that they have this power? They don't. They don't, folks. They don't have this power. These federal judges do not have the ability to tell the president and commander-in-chief of the United States when and where he can federalize the National Guard and where they can be deployed. They don't have that power. The only court that might would be the Supreme Court of the United States. But see, the president is acting constitutionally here. The president is acting how he should with this, because the president has the authority, the carte blanche authority, to enforce federal law. He can use whatever agencies that he wishes to do this. What part of this is a piece that these judges, these rogue idiot judges, do not understand? I just don't get it. It's already been kicked down by one of the most overturned and wrong courts in the land, which was the Ninth Circuit in California. California tried to block it. They got spanked. The Ninth Circuit said, no, you can't do that. The Supreme Court has even gone so far as to say, yeah, guess what? That's the president's purview. And yet these stupid-ass federal judges, and the Supreme Court actually even said, you know what? Yo, federal court folks, yeah, you guys might be overstepping your boundaries here. Yeah. Anyway. I can't even understand this. The judge stated that the deployment of the National Guard likely violates the state's military code, and that state officials are suffering or will suffer irreparable harm if the injunction isn't granted. What kind of an idiot? Folks, it doesn't matter what the state's military code is. They were federalized. What part of that do you miss? They were federalized. See, this is the part, this is where the National Guard has special powers. You can either, as a National Guard, be federalized under the president's purview, or you end up being underneath the governor's purview. But those are two separate purviews. They don't cross each other. Okay? They don't. I'm like, this is so ridiculous. And by the way, this person, surprisingly enough, reported to be a Democrat, according to the Associated Press. What a idiot. All right, another court overreach. This one is in the religious aspect. Apparently, the Maine Supreme Court is now reviewing a case involving custody between a mother and a father, where the court, the lower court, not the Supreme Court, not the Maine Supreme Judicial Court, but the lower court judge said, hey, mom, guess what? You are barred, legally barred, from taking your child to church or even talking to her about the Bible's teachings. What the actual hell? And I'm using hell instead of the other word. Oh my gosh. This judge is saying that, yeah, parent, guess what? You can't even talk to your kid about the Bible. Yeah. I think that violates the First Amendment there, Judge. Violates the First Amendment, violates free speech, violates freedom of religion, violates the fact that you can't stick your nose in on the freedom of under the freedom of religion. I mean, this is like a complete overreach. I can't even believe this. So this is the Maine Supreme Judicial Court is considering whether a Portland District Court judge violated constitutional limits by preventing a mother from taking her 12-year-old daughter to church or introducing her to Bible teachings. Yeah, he did. He or she did, whoever it was. The lower court gave a December 13, 2024 order that gave the child's father exclusive authority over all religious decisions. Really? The judge apparently relied on testimony that the child experienced emotional turmoil connected to the material being presented at Calvary Chapel, which is the church that the mom attends. Expert witnesses. Now, here's the thing. You remember that conversation that we had with Lisa about her book, and she was talking about the expert witnesses and everything else? Expert witnesses described the church's imagery, such as depictions of fallen angels and messages about eternal suffering, as sources of anxiety and confusion for the child. The judge concluded that the exposure to these Christian teachings risked psychological harm. Yeah, except there's only one problem, jackass. You don't have the authority to block the mom from talking about the Bible. You don't. You literally don't. The restrictions are unconstitutional, clearly. Clearly. Well, we now have a federal court that has, again, stepped outside of its boundaries. So these are like three people. This is another federal court that stepped outside of its boundaries. You know that whole Texas redistricting map that was done? Well, now, apparently, a panel of judges has ruled that the maps were substantially, quote, racially gerrymandered. Oh, I can't wait for SCOTUS to knock this shit out of the park. I mean, seriously. I hope and pray that SCOTUS does exactly what they said they are going to do, what they seemed like they were going to do, which is call into question the idea of using race as a function of a criterion in order to decide these maps. Like I said, the most equitable solution, you really want to get down to the equitable solution, it's pretty much this. All you need to do is count how many people exist in a certain area. That's it. That's the only criterion you need. When you add up to whatever is needed for that threshold to start a new district, there you go. That's it. That's it. I mean, seriously, that's it. Who cares how they vote? Well, I mean, obviously the Democrats and Republicans do, but it shouldn't be a criterion for that. It should just be literally the number of people that live in this area. There you go. There's a district. And yes, Bonnie, the Texas was, they've already been through this. They went through it. The original map that they did was challenged by the Biden administration, went all the way to the Supreme Court. They were required to redo it. They redid it, and then this whole thing with California started kicking off and all this other crap, which, by the way, California's redistricting effort is going to the courts, too. So we'll see if where that one goes. But I got to tell you, folks, I'm just saying, I'm talking about lawfare in the United States and using the judge. Now, that being said, I just got to say, the court system, this is part of the reason why it exists. But the actual factual piece out of all of this is mainly just the fact that Texas literally did not do it on the basis of race. They literally didn't do it. And by the way, Texas has already appealed to the Supreme Court. Texas has said that they will appeal, and I've heard that they've already filed an emergency appeal. So don't be surprised if SCOTUS says, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna stay that injunction, meaning that you can continue with your redistricting, just continue with it, and that I'm gonna guess and surmise that if that does happen that way, then that is an indication that the Supreme Court is seriously considering getting rid of race-based redistricting, which in and of itself is racist by its very nature. I've told you this. Anytime that you use race as a criterion and utilize it in such a way specifically to elevate some aspect or some particular group of individuals above another, that in and of itself, by using race, is racist. I don't know how much more simpler I can make this. But anyway. So Texas is going to appeal to the Supreme Court with this. And it said that U.S. District Judge ruled on Tuesday that Texas's new map was likely unconstitutional, saying that it should use its 2021 maps. Texas Governor Abbott said on Tuesday that the maps were redrawn to better reflect Texas's conservative voting preferences and for no other reason. Anyway, the public perception is that this case is about politics. To be sure, politics played a role in redrawing the 2025 map. Substantial evidence shows that Texas racially gerrymandered the 2025 map, according to the ruling from the panel of judges. But yeah, that case is headed to the Supreme Court. So, yeah. Also, by the way, just to keep in mind, Indiana, Virginia, Florida, they're all fighting redistricting battles. You have a bunch of other that are going on about it. So, Representative Greg Casar from Texas, he's a Democrat, said the Trump-Abbott maps are clearly illegal, and I'm glad these judges have blocked them. If this decision stands, I look forward to running for re-election in my current district. Okay. Well, if you really think that these things are illegal, just all you have to do is count the number of citizens in an area. There you go. It's like, forget this other crap. No. You can't make a district based out of all. No. Just pick. Here, this is how many people are there. You want clear, concise, non-race-based redistricting, gerrymandering? Forget it. There you go. That's it. Anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, the Justice Department in California's Republican Party are suing to block the Prop 50 in California. The Supreme Court is also considering Louisiana-based case that could shake up the maps completely if there is a possibility that Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act be scrapped, which it should. Folks, we're in 2025, not 1965 or even 1865. We're in 2025. Race is not a factor anymore. Yeah. All right. Well, here is something that the government actually should be doing for the people, but under the Democrat Party is not. Okay? Remember those nasty fires that happened in California that burned out thousands of homes, that Governor Newsom still tries to assign to climate change, even though I told you the cause was a flare-up from a fire that occurred due to an arsonist because the local fire department decided to pull the fire watch off of that fire before it was completely put out. And sure enough, the Santa Ana winds picked it up and carried it and started it back up again, which created this situation. Not to mention the fact that the city decided to not do proper maintenance on open areas, which just fueled the fire even more. Anyway, the majority of the Pacific Palisades residents, they're still in temporary housing, folks. you believe this? Now, Gavin and Newsom, of course, blame the slow rebuilding on climate change. What a fucking idiot. God, I hope if he runs for president, I hope he gets trounced. Seriously. Yeah. He's like, this was his quote, folks. In my state, which is one of the most blessed and cursed states as it relates to climate, we're on the tip of the spear of climate change. What climate change? It was, you guys get Santa Ana winds every single year. You pulled a fire brigade that was there for fire watch. You pulled it off of an arson fire that was lit 1 week earlier. You also failed to mitigate wildfires by clearing brush, filling water reservoirs, all of those other things, not to mention the fact that the city actually laid off a whole bunch of fire people, too. I mean, this is just ridiculous. But apparently, in the Palisades area, 75% are still in temporary housing. In Altadena, 67%. Malibu, 43%. Pasadena, California, 15%. I mean, can you believe this stuff? And this even after Karen Bass told Donald Trump to his face, oh, yes, we're going to be lifting restrictions and we're going to get these people in and they can start rebuilding right away. We're going to lower the red tape that it takes to get permits and everything else. All of that's bullshit, folks. All of that's bullshit. You want to find out, seriously, you want to find out what a leftist, Democrat-run state looks like? You want to see what's going to happen in New York City? Just look to California. Just look to California. Because I guarantee you, this is exactly what you're going to see in New York City as well. You're going to see New York City go in the way of California. So apparently there was on the 13th, and it's 5 days ago, the 13th, Jessica Rogers, who is the president of the Pacific Palisades Residents Association, and among others, they were part of a U.S. Senate committee hearing on the Palisades fire. So anyway, so here's the thing, by the way. So this happened on January 7th. This happened on January 7th, and here we are in October. And people, now granted, I understand construction doesn't happen that quickly, but still. I mean, this is horrible. And apparently this person also testified, by the way, Jessica Rogers. She also testified that, quote, as I ran through my house gathering belongings, I kept checking my phone for alerts from local governments. Nothing came. It wasn't until 12:30 p.m., nearly 2 hours after the fire started, that I received a notice to prepare for potential evacuation. The mandatory order didn't come until 5 p.m., long after houses along her street were actually lost to the flames. Now, Johnson and Scott, and that would be Representative Rick Scott of Florida and Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, have opened up an investigation into the fire and its slow rebuilding response. So they're going to take a look at this thing. Now, I don't know why the federal government necessarily needs to get involved here, but other than the state not doing anything, so this would be sort of an appropriate kind of scenario here, honestly, but all right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget on your way out to hit those thumbs up, thumbs downs if you really want, or in the case of 3 Chevy, who isn't here, thumbs sideways across all my platforms, whether it's YouTube, X, Facebook, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Whiskey Wednesday and for the Pet of the Week at the end of the show. So come on back so you can see that wonderful pet that we've got. We will see you tomorrow night. Have a great rest of your evening, folks, and good night, everybody.